Okay, so good morning, guys. Welcome to the Market Open stream, MadMaverick. I want to go over a few things. Market preview. I try to do this every week now on Thursdays, just to go over a few things leading into Market Open. So we're prepared. That's the best we can do, is just be prepared for what's going to happen after Market Open, and we just don't panic and just jump into certain things without a reason, right? So I did want to go over a few things before the market opens in about 14 minutes, and then we have time. We can do the setups for SPY, we can do the setups on NVIDIA, and we can plan some of the walkthroughs of the watch list trades if they set up. If we run out of time here going over some of these key data, economic data points that came out today. So I did want to go over that briefly. 8:30 today, we had the GDP quarter-over-quarter GDP come in, right? Second quarter, and the expectation was 3.0. Was the economy was still pretty strong, and it came in at 3.3. So it did beat the estimates that they predicted. Wall Street were looking for the 3.0 on the growth of the economy overall. And it came in at 3.3. So healthy economy still by these GDP ratings that came out today. Then we had pretty much today and tomorrow is the big kind of data releases, right? We got PCE tomorrow. We got GDP today. We have jobless claims today, and we have continued jobless claims as well. So nothing really was going on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It was kind of slow. We had some, you could definitely trade the spikes, the drops overall in SPY, right? And that's kind of what we did over the last couple of days. But there wasn't as much volume as we've been seeing until I think today, tomorrow, and NVIDIA's earnings last night. We may start to get some nice volatility, and that's what we want as day traders, right? We want the volatility so we can do some nice trading. So initial jobless claims came in 229,000. The estimate was 235. So jobless claims came in lower than expectations again. So that's also shown you a robust job market still. There's no signs of a crack that maybe that's what the Feds are looking for to maybe force their hands to cut the rates, right? So jobless claims came in a little bit lower than expectation. Continued jobless claims came in a little bit lower to the expectation as well. So at the market, at the moment, we got the market just kind of green for the pre-market, right? So if we go to SPY real quick, we're green. Even when NVIDIA kind of pulled down with earnings, NVIDIA is 8% weighted on the S&P. It still managed to stay green. And if we open up, right here, we're at all-time high again. If we open up around this area now that we're at. So SPY is still at all-time highs. NVIDIA's earnings really didn't crack the overall trend for the market in general. So we got some good data coming out this morning. These three key data, good information, and there's no signs of cracks yet in the job market. That, if you're just looking at these three individual data releases, right? Yes, let me see here. What else is going on? And then we have earnings today. We got earnings come out this morning. TD Bank, Dollar General, LI Auto, which is a EV company out of China as well, if you're wondering what that is. But we got banking, Dollar General, which I believe our last check was green. Let's check what Dollar General is at. It's up 3% pre-market, so pretty good there. And then we have just global indexes. We got a bunch of India news, and they're still looking to buy Russian oil, and they don't care about US tariffs. They're still gonna do what's best for their economy and their people. So we got also India right there still in the news. NVIDIA rebounding after the drop with earnings. So pretty much that's it so far this morning with market preview. Now, if we go to the charts, pretty much we're just going to look at NVIDIA, because NVIDIA is what I want to see if there's a trade that we can get with NVIDIA today. I would have loved for it to open up down here somewhere, because we did go down as low as what was that, 173, I think it was. Let's just check that. 171. So we went as low as 171 last night, and then we bounced pretty nicely, right? So we bounced all the way back to the 179, then we kind of fizzled out and stayed flat about 176 into the end of after hours. Then we kind of gapped up a little bit, right, in pre-market, and held up this 177, 178, and now we're up here at 181. So pretty much a flat earnings. And if you did buy any calls or you bought any puts, IV is going to crush. It's going to crush you, and you're going to be down pretty significant. And that's why I don't trade going into any earnings, because the IV is going to crush you. It's definitely manipulated, and even if NVIDIA opened up 2-3% higher, those calls will probably be down. So I like to trade, just let all the earnings go out the way, and then I trade the next day or the next couple of days when the IV's lower and things are where they should be, and we can actually make some decent profits. Going into earnings with calls or puts is a lotto trade, and you're basically just burning down the house and losing that money that you put in pretty quickly. So I did want to just go over this pre-market, see if we have any trades with NVIDIA. And all I'm going to do is put some lines from yesterday. And there's not really much. I'm not going to force this trade whatsoever, because NVIDIA's flat again. So it's not much that happened overall. If we just look at yesterday's to today's, right? And we don't look at this middle part, nothing really happened. I'm just going to put some levels in place here. And they actually did get some upgrades. A few banks, a few institutions gave them some upgrades today, so that's pretty nice for them. I'm just going to look for a breakdown of these levels for downside moves. And all I'm doing, guys, is just planning out these trades from just horizontal support and resistance levels, nothing too fancy, right? And then I'm gonna raise this line up a little bit to the top of those candles. And then my target will be up here to the upside, and downside, it will be towards down here. Let's bring this down a little bit. So what I'm going to do, and if you look at these trend signals right here on the right, this table that I have, it's pretty easy, clean table. It's going to show you the trend, the momentum, the pressure and the volume of the overall chart. So we got a mixed bag, more bearish right now on the momentum side. MACD is still bearish, systolic RSI is still bearish, RSI is neutral. It's sitting right on the 50, which is neutral for the RSI. Once we start pushing above the 50, above 55, towards 60, 70, then it looks more healthy, more bullish strength. And if we lose the 50, showing more of a bearish strength, right? Weakness is coming into the chart. So we got RSI neutral, we got MACD bearish, which is this one. It's negative, it's not positive on the MACD. Volume is just switching between bullish and bearish at the moment, so it's a mixed bag. So what I'm going to look to do, got 5 minutes, all I'm going to look here is this area where we bounced from pre-market. We're going to lose this area, and then I'm going to play it down. Once we lose like a 2-minute candle, 2-minute candle close under this, I'm not just going to jump in as soon as we got a candle start falling below that line. I want to see a candle close below that line before I jump into any trade to the downside. Then we're going to aim for down here. If we lose this area, then I'm going to aim to go lower from there. So we got a few targets here. Upside, if we get above here, we're going to start aiming towards the 182. Kind of like yesterday, we bounced back towards that 182. So that's what I'm going to look to do for NVIDIA here. I'm gonna let it play out for probably 5-10 minutes, see what happens, and then if it sets up nicely, I'm gonna jump into a trade. The call side, we're gonna look for 182 calls, I believe. Let me just double check if they go up by dollar basis here. Before I give you that information. $180. Okay, so we got 180, 185, 182, 180, 182.50. 182.50 is what Nvidia has. You can do 182.50 calls, or if you want to go a little bit further out the money, be a bit cheaper, 185 calls. Once we get above 181 is my level for the call side. Now for the drop side, we're gonna look for below 180, 30, 180, 40. And then I'm gonna look to take, let me just have a look at this, what we got on the put side. 180. You can probably do 177.50 or 180 if you want to be in the money. That's okay too. Or 180, depends on what you're willing to put into those contracts. We'll see. So that's what my plan's going to be. We got about 2 minutes till market opens. So that's what I'm going to look for. Below this 180.40, take one of these. I'll probably go for the 177.50s, a little bit out the money, and then play it down to these targets here. And then start, either if you want to try to stay in as long as possible, then you can put a stop in place and raise that stop, or put a trailing stop so it follows right behind the move. So it keeps you from going red. And then the upside as well. If we go green, we start going towards these targets, then we can put a stop loss in so that we don't go red in that trade once we're nice and green. Or you can take profit when you're happy with your return there. Does that make sense, guys? Going into market open, we've got about a minute. Let me just check the chats. You need that indicator. Well, we can talk about that little indicator. This will definitely help you with trends, but it's not going to help you really getting into a trade. It's just going to help you overall knowing what kind of trends and momentum is going on for the actual chart. But you need a simple strategy, and in the coaching you get that. You get to learn a few different strategies, and you pick the one that you understand and do better on, and then you just focus on that one strategy for the rest of your life. So there's a few strategies that I teach in coaching, 2 or 3, and then you find the one that works best for you, because everyone's different, and that's why we offer a few different strategies, right? So I'm just going to watch the video into market open, see what it does. We've got about 5 seconds, ready to rock and roll. Nice green candle right from the get-go. I'm on a 2-minute time frame. This baby's just going to rip, it looks like. It's hard to jump in on that kind of candle, right? So I'm sure there's a lot of FOMO going into this trade right now. Anyone in the trade already? It's like 2 seconds after market open, you guys are all in. No, you guys aren't. That's good stuff. So what a big green candle from the get-go from the video. SPY is also at all-time highs, like I was mentioning. We can go over SPY. I'm just going to take my time reviewing these trades, right? We got some time here. We don't need to rush into anything unless we understand a plan behind it. While we have a plan behind it, then we can trade it. But if we just jump in right into something with no plan whatsoever, probability is you're going to take a loss because you don't know what you're going to do. So I'm relaxed. I'm calm. I know what I'm trying to do for NVIDIA. And that is not to jump in on that green candle. I'm going to look at the top gainers too. Why I'm looking at NVIDIA's chart. I'm just going to go through the top gainers, see if there's any movement that that sets up on our watch list. I'm going to share the watch list in the chat in the Discord. If you're in the Discord, this is going to help you stay focused on that watch list, and it's going to be in the chat, and I will review it if there's any breakouts on that list. Now, it's okay for this green candle just to play out, because if we do get pullbacks, we can look at this previous price action from yesterday here, over here. And if we retest and bounce off that area, could be a really sweet entry for a retest and reversal off this area here, right? So this was a clear resistance yesterday on price action for NVIDIA. So that could be a sweet spot here to reverse and bounce right off that area, right here. So that would be a smart kind of retest and reversal entry if it holds and bounces from there. If it just has this big pop now and we start to sell off, we still have our entry points to the downside. These will still be active. It doesn't matter if we're up here. If we lose this area, here, we can play this down and make some money on the downside still. And it looks like that was a pump and dump from NVIDIA, huh? That's funny that I say that, but we know NVIDIA doesn't pump and dump. But that's pretty wild to have a nice pump here. Now this red candle. So these people that jumped in on this big green candle are now panicking probably with this kind of candle. Unless they're master scalp traders. So we pull back. We didn't hold this area, so it's not worth jumping into calls there. Now we could retest this line right here and bounce off this line. We'll see what happens with these two-minute candles. And I did want to go over today just a VWAP strategy. And that is literally just trading with VWAP on your chart and volume. That's all you're going to base your trade off of is VWAP and volume. And I did want to go over that today as well in this stream. At the beginning of this stream, we're going to play out some live trades, see if we get anything here, right? But I did want to get more into, let's see if we can get any VWAP strategy trades off the watch list today. Absolutely, Nick. Yeah, I'm gonna teach you how to use VWAP. It can be very effective just trading off of VWAP, off the watch list trades. So we got a pump here. Now we're gonna look for this 180 and 40 cent loss of this area, and then this is likely. I'm not gonna say it's 100%, but this is where I'm gonna look to take my trade down to on the put side. If we lose this 180 and 40 cents. I'm sorry, I'm still sick. I'm still sick trying to battle this cold that my daughter brought home from school. All right, see? So that's a nice pump, and now we're down to the first target already. Quite a big couple of red candles here. On the more aggressive side, you could have easily gone into the put once we lost this area here and played it down from this area. And then you had lots of time to figure out where you're going to take profit, raising your stops up, and doing all that fun stuff, right? The fun stuff is just planning out where you're going to take your profits. The nitty gritty stuff is making sure you protect your position with a stop loss, knowing where to put that, and knowing where to put your protection so you don't go severely red in your position. So the easy part is taking profits. The hardest part is sticking by your stop loss, right? And making sure you follow through. So we dropped under that 180.40. We're down to 179 and under. We hit below that first target already. Let's see if we bounce from here or we continue down towards the second target. There's just going to be so much volatility in this chart for the day in this stock that we're going to be probably primed for many different trades today, just a scalp trade up and down with momentum and volume. Yeah, that's right. The whole summer I wasn't sick because my kids were at home. And as soon as they go back, it was the first week. Man, I gotta wear one of those suits. Make sure that I don't get sick. Like an astronaut suit. That's what I need. So this didn't work out. Take this away. We didn't bounce at any of those points. Right now, stack bearish still on the video. We got the MA's bullish. We got, what else we got here? RSI neutral. We got MACD still bearish. MACD is actual, the RSI is below 50. So more for me, stack bearish at the moment. Volume is stacked bearish. We got more selling volume, 80% over 17. And that's just going to fluctuate all day long, right? And maybe around 10 o'clock, I will start going over that VWAP strategies, just simple strategy using VWAP. And I have a document to go over with you guys as well. I kind of wrote up a quick document to review and understand what that VWAP strategy entails. I'm doomed. Exactly. I'm doomed. I'm glad that Nick is that you didn't jump in there, right? I mean, there's a lot of FOMO jumping into that big green candle. I wonder how many people jumped into that and then thought they were in early and then just took a huge loss on that drop, you know? So it's just all about not jumping right in on the big green candles or on the big red candles, because there's going to be some kind of retracement in either direction. Yeah, volatility. Look at the Nvidia chart; it's just full of volatility. Look at that. We've been open for about 9 minutes, and look at that choppiness. I'm gonna give us some room to go for the upside here. You can literally probably trade this up and down what I put probably many times today. Tesla's a little green. What else we got out there? SPY. Let me go back to SPY, see what SPY is doing. SPY looks just like the Nvidia chart. Look at that. Let's see what we got here. And using like yesterday's data from the chart, support resistance, it's going to play a key the next day. So definitely look at previous days, chart and look at the support and resistance levels. They're going to be used pretty much as entry targets for that next day as well, for entries, for targets, stop losses. For SPY, For the spy lovers out there, there's a lot of spy lovers. Love and hate relationship. Who has a love-hate relationship with spy? Put your hands up. But it doesn't have to be like that if you just plan out a trade. I say a loss of, I'm going to go even here, 647, loss of 647. Look for 646 puts for tomorrow, which will be August 29th, right? That's what I look for if we lose 647. And then, and you can have these kind of contracts just stacked up on your watch list ready to go. So you don't have to go find the contracts, just put them under a watch list. You can do that. And then SPY above 647.60. And I'll look to take 648 calls for August 29th. And the best way to do it, the best way I do it, is just wait for like a 2-3 minute candle close above those areas. And then I look to take a trade. And, you know, there's also another way you can do this, which, you know, I'm saying above this area here, right, for an entry. But say we're up here, the candle goes up here and closes up here. Looking for a retest and then seeing buying off the retest and push off the retest, that for me is a better entry than waiting for than having this candle close up here and trying to take it from up here. If we can get a solid retest and a hold of this previous resistance and it holds the support and pushes off, that for me is a much clearer confirmation to take the trade than taking the trade if the candle closes up here somewhere. And to the call side, that would be my target up here, which was a market high of 648.09 will be my target point, at least to start raising my stop and not go red on my calls once it starts going green towards this area. Once we get up here, then I would look to put a stop loss in, maybe trim my position if we get rejection. Got to have some kind of plan if we got rejection here, and not just, you know, not just freeze and don't do anything. If there's a rejection, if it goes up here and there's rejection, got to be something in place to protect my position from going red. Take profit, raise my stop up tight, whatever it is, something there so I don't go red on my position. I'm not going to falter at the wheel here. This red. This for me is a no trade zone. I'm going to put this red. This is, I'm not going to trade this zone here. I'm going to put dark red here. I'm not going to trade that zone. I'm going to wait for a clear drop under or a clear drop above. I'm not going to trade this zone right here. Too choppy in there, back and forth. I want a clear trend down or a clear trend up. Out of that box. So now we're dropping down. Let's see if we get candle close underneath that line with this candle. We got 2 minutes. Well, this just closed. So this could be an ideal entry. This may be an ideal entry. Now we got this green candle. If we get rejection here off this blue line and we get rejection, this is a nice entry to the downside for me personally. That's what I would do. We got about a minute 37 for this green candle here. If this decides to get rejection on this blue line, I'm going to put this even thicker so we can see it. Then I'm going to take my entry for some puts here. This could be a nice little trend to the downside happening right now. Things are stacking bearish a little bit now in the overall. We got Nvidia trying to pull down as well. That's going to help SPY pull back. Six 46s. Yeah, this candle is flickering between red and green. No entry for me yet. We got 28 seconds for this candle. And the puts that I'm going to buy is 646 puts for tomorrow. If you want to be degenerate, then you okay. 0 DT is okay if you know how to keep that risk tight. And don't mind that huge volatility that comes with it. That's fine. But I like to go a day out. So this candle's green. Keep the video on my chart at the top. I'm going to look to buy some puts in a second. The video's chart's pulling down. It's red. I want a near perfect entry for my puts, but let's see. Going red on this candle. It's stacked more bearish still. Let me have a look. Let's see here. Stacked bearish. We look like we can come down to this next blue line. Nvidia's dropping as well at the same time. It's going to help SPY pull back. We're stacked bearish on all the trends at the moment with SPY. Duco, so it says here I was up big yesterday. In what, calls or puts? What were you in yesterday? And what expiration? Today's expiration? This is dropping, guys. We got Nvidia. I got Nvidia on my top screen showing you guys SPY. We are dropping. We are dropping. Nvidia is falling. SPY is dropping. This is huge. Look at this big drop. Nice trend. Like I said, out of this box. Out of this box. I'm not in the trade. I couldn't get into the trade. I'm just watching it over here. I'm just a people watcher at this second. And I'm just watching everyone make money. But clearly didn't want to trade this block, right? Now we're falling out the block. We got to retest with these wicks to that blue line, which gives us confirmation rejection. Now we're going to follow through to the downside. We dropped below that that target that we're looking for. So now we have a gap opportunity. We were talking about this earlier in the coaching section about this gap. If we decide to close inside this gap down here, we have a huge probability that we're going to fill this gap just because SPY loves to fill gaps. So we would technically aim for about here to 645.30 if this candle could close underneath this area here. We got about 25 seconds to go. I'll be right back. Give me 2 seconds, guys. There we go, guys. We're in the middle of that gap now that we created overnight action from after hours yesterday to pre-market. We're in the middle of that gap here. So the video is still setting off down to 178 if you bought puts based on our entry there. We can quickly flick back to the video and you can see clearly it's stacked more bearish. We've got that below 180 and 40 cents and aim for this. You should be up really nicely on these puts on that loss of 180 and 40 cents. We're down about $2 from that entry now. Let's see what happens with SPY. We got some buying action. Let's see if that fizzles out quickly or we start to bounce from here. Still stacked, mostly bearish. Volume trying to pick up on SPY as well. Anyone trade these SPY puts? SPY put, nice, Chris. You got SPX, same day, zero. He don't care. He's Canadian. He don't care what I say. He's got those puts in place. A nice profit there. Nvidia, nice profit there. Nvidia again, nice profit. You got calls and puts for Nvidia. Hell yeah. Good stuff. All out, walking away. Love the plan. If you guys take any profits, share it in the profit channel, guys. Smash that profit channel. This is what this stream's about, trying to make some extra, income on the side, a little side hustle, right? And then obviously going over strategies. These strategies are talked about a lot in my coaching side. So getting with that strategy and plan is going to make your execution much better overall in the market. You're not guessing anything anymore. You're just relying on a strategy that has worked for someone or has been working for you. And once you focus on that, you don't need to worry about anything else anymore. You focus on your entries, your targets, your stops, and start seeing consistency in your P&L overall for the month, for the week. That's what we want to see. We don't want to just be red and red and red and then a little bit of green, and then we scared and we jump out with a little bit of profit and then it runs 20-30% higher. There's ways to keep you in the trade, and that's what we're here to do, is to give you those tools so that you can do that. Cut your losses sooner, and ways to keep you in the trade longer on those winners. The video is still dropping, guys. It's down about $3 from our entry. It's at 177.80. It's stacked very bearish on the sell side of Nvidia. Actually looking like a better setup than SPY on the bounce here. If we go to Nvidia, we are stacked bearish here. There is a gap fill potential in the video as well, which we're looking around here, 176.50. Could be a gap opportunity there. So, look at this chart right here. Stacked bearish on everything. And this is what you're going to look at, this bounce opportunity here, which is at the top of that gap right here. So we bounce here pretty nicely. We go back towards these next resistance points, right? Or we lose this and fall all the way down here. As that's like the bonus all out kind of target for me to aim for down here. Let me see if I got any. So if you got into, because I put the SPY trade on the watch list, I didn't enter it, but they're up about 30 to 40% on those SPY puts from our entry. The video, you're probably looking at a little bit more than that. Gap fill opportunity to 176.50 on the video. And all I'm focused on now is these blue lines, right? Because I put these blue lines, which is the top of the gap. This blue line is the bottom of the gap fill. So we can fill that gap from yesterday's after hours action. And it looks like it's 3/4 of the way filled. Got about 50 more cents for that to be completely filled. We may start to get a nice pickup from that area back up. So you be wary, if you're in puts looking for continuation, it's time to think about protecting your profits now. If you've got the Maverick indicator, a lot of you guys do in the Discord. I mean, this would give you some nice little pointers where to enter to, and this is based on my SMA 20 strategy that I teach. This ribbon, and it's a little bit hard to see because I got a few different things. I got VWAP on right now too, but this ribbon will help you with entries, with like where should you start taking profit or where you should stop out. That will give you more sense of comfort where we're going to break to the upside, where we're looking to, where it's breaking down to take the profits. It's literally there to give you an entry, to a tool for an entry. And if you even stop out, you should stop out with some profits. You shouldn't be in a loss. That's what this is there to do for you. So NVIDIA wicked all the way down to that gap fill right here. SPY is on the way down to that gap fill as well. Those SPY puts about 42 to 45%. What is the name of that stack? Well, I'll let you know later. Don't worry about it right now. We're worried about learning right now and some live trading, but I can definitely give you that information. Mystery man, yeah, mystery man. Trade NVDL. Is that a leverage put or leverage calls? Leverage. Is it leverage bullish or is it stack bearish on that one? Okay. Well, on a downtrend, I won't be looking to take a position yet. Once we start holding some levels, yeah, that's fine. But right now we're selling off, so for me, there's no reason to be buying into a bullish ETF leverage trade for NVIDIA if it's stacked bearish at the moment. Once we hold some levels on the bigger time frames, we can go to the daily or the weekly, and we can put some levels in place. If we fall down to these levels, we see them hold, and we start to push off strong off those levels. Buy side volume comes in, then those are the areas that I will look to take some positions on those leverage trades. I'm all about these leverage 2x, 3x trade based on stocks like United, based on Coinbase, based on NVIDIA, based on Tesla. If you don't mind owning a leverage stock that follows the overall, company, and you don't mind it, you're not holding it long term, and you're just trying to hold it short term and maximize the profits, why not look at a leverage trade? It's 2x, 3x. If you're looking to play it for a couple of weeks and you've got the clean trend, instead of making 5-10%, why not make 20 in the same period of time? if it's short term. If it's something that you want to hold long term and they have dividends and it's something that is going to be a retirement type of trade, maybe just sticking to the company stock would be better for you because they offer dividends along the way, and that's something that you can collect passively in that trade while you're holding it. But short term leverage trading, I'm all about it. Leverage ETFs. And by all means, I'm not stacked bearish whatsoever with the market at the moment. Like, this market has been resilient. This market is showing bullish strength on the bigger time frames. We're just looking at day-to-day trading here. And right now we were looking for that down trade, right? And we filled that gap, pretty much filled that gap on SPY. And I'm not stacked bearish whatsoever. Overall trend is on the bigger time frames is to the upside. So this is just day-to-day trading, intraday trading, and I'm not worried. But overall, bigger picture is it's pretty strong, right? Look at the daily and weekly, pretty strong reversals. And if you guys have any trades, any tickers you want me to look at in the Discord, let me know. I'd definitely take a look, see if there's any potential trades or obstacles that we're experiencing in those trades. I'll take a look at it. I don't care. I'll give you my honest opinion. I'm not scared. It's best to be honest and upfront than trying to work a way around justifying being in that position. If it sucks, why not be honest with yourself? Up $600 today. Let me share that in the profit channel too. I'm no Latvian, but I got $600 profit today. Didn't do much, just planned out these trades. Okay, so it's about 10 o'clock. So let's go into the VWAP trading. We got about 30 minutes before I have to end this stream. We got our trade, right? SPY or NVIDIA, whichever one you wanted. You got the trade there to the downside. You made some extra money. Maybe it's dinner money. Maybe it's a weekend getaway with your wife and your kids. Whatever I helped you pay for, congrats. You did it all by yourself. You're the one who pressed the button. You're the one who took the profit. So congrats on the trading. For this morning on any one of these. SPY or NVIDIA is what we went over, right? So I'm just get away from the wife and kids. I'm not going to say that. Please delete that from this recording. So I'm just going to get rid of all these lines, and we're going to go to get away from SPY. I don't really want to look at SPY anymore, right? And I'm just going to look at the watch list, see if there's any top gainers here. And I'm going to review VWAP, what ultimately the VWAP trading is, right? And there's a few ways to trade VWAP, and trading with just VWAP, which is the volume weighted average price, is something that you can totally do. We can take off my SMA 20. We can take off, that whole chart. We can take off this. We can just keep the volume and VWAP on our chart, and we can keep these indicators here. Probably the RSI. I don't really need the MACD. Just the RSI would be good enough for me. So we can keep the chart very clean, and I'm just going to trade these off with the watch list trades, right? Because those are the ones that are going to be with high volume and likely to be breaking VWAP or breaking, below VWAP to take a trade to the downside. So look at that, Nick. Plus 274,000 for the year. Realized profit. Hell yeah, my friend. Congrats on that. You're killing it. And there's more to come. Let's double that for the next year. So VWAP trading. So we're just trading off that volume weighted average price. Totally doable. And it's surprisingly powerful when used with discipline, right? So here is a simple breakdown how to use just with that sole indicator. And I'm just talking about playing the top gainers for the day, or trading maybe the top losers and they're reversing for the day, and you want to look for a trade there. VWAP can be a very powerful tool to use, right? So what does VWAP tell you? So the fair value. So VWAP shows the average price weighted by the volume, essentially where most trading is happening. And the trend bias price above VWAP is more of a bullish bias, right? And below VWAP is a bearish bias. Dynamic support and resistance it can be used for, so act as a magnet. Price and often reverses. The price often reverts to the VWAP intraday. We've seen it many times with SPY. If you trade SPY for the day, a VWAP is a magnet. We may bounce off VWAP for an entry for a reversal back to the upside. Like yesterday, there was I can show you yesterday on SPY, a nice clean retest of VWAP and a nice clean volume break back into SPY to take it much higher again. So it can be used as a magnet, as a support or resistance. So we can see like maybe the chart is down, right? And VWAP is 50 cents higher than the price action, the price of the stock right now. It can literally rise to VWAP and be a rejection point, meaning, we hit VWAP, it can be a resistance. Sellers come back in, pile back into that stock, into that price action and pull it back down from VWAP. And that could be an entry for you if you're a bearish kind of trader, you like to play downside. Maybe that's a perfect opportune moment for you to jump in to the trade once we get some, confirmation, maybe a candlestick, engulfing bearish candlestick off of that VWAP and rejection and pulls back down. So that could be an easy way to enter to the downside on a reversal to the downside. Also, like we say, a support. Say, the chart's way up higher than VWAP. We pull down to VWAP. We bounce right off VWAP. Volume surges back in, and then we push it off VWAP. That could be used as a very good clean support indicator as well, right? So very easy way to trade off this VWAP based on that, what it's going to tell you. Now, if you want to look to play VWAP to the breakout, the setup here would be price consolidates near VWAP, then breaks out through VWAP with volume, right? So we're going to trade on a breakout candle above VWAP. We're not going to play it just when it's coming up to VWAP. We want to see a breakout candle above VWAP to show us an entry for the breakout entry for the VWAP strategy, right? And then the stop loss, once we're in position, we start pushing above VWAP, the volume's there, we're in profit. Our stop, if you want a stop loss in place, can literally be under VWAP, right? A way to, momentum trades, a way for a target. You can, I can bring it up now. We can go to right now. Even you can look at SPY. We're looking at a VWAP. This only indicator right here is VWAP. So we can literally reject off VWAP here and start selling right off, or we see a more volume surge come into VWAP, take it above VWAP for an entry, potential entry to the upside. And then our stop loss will be just under VWAP. So we're keeping our stop, with discipline, we're keeping our protection in place very tightly if we lose VWAP, right? So me particularly like a 2-3 minute candle, get above VWAP and close above it. Then I look to take a trade on the next candle. That's how I do it, and that's how effective it works for me. Or the rejection right here. If we see this candle reject here, the next candle, if we see a follow through of more sell-off volume, then I jump into a trade off the next candle. That's what I would do if we see the continuation in either direction, right? So right now we're stacked. If we look at VWAP on this 3-minute chart, we got rejection right here. So this candle's got about 54 seconds to close. So doesn't mean that we're going to jump into maybe a put right here. This candle hasn't closed yet. This candle literally can break right through VWAP now and close above it. So I'd wait for this candle to close for me to even know if it's stacked more bullish or bearish on this VWAP retest. And to know targets, what it's telling you, there's an easy way to do it. You can use the fib retracement for the day, high and low. You can use a fib retracement, right? You can go from the high to the low of day, and you can get different target points for you. Simple, easy, close targets to just keep on raising your stops along the way. If we get through this level, then you raise up your stop up just below that level, get to the next level and break through, raise our stop up behind that next level, and just keep on doing that until we roll over, and then we take our profits. So this candle literally is going to give me an entry to the downside. If we see that continued sell-off coming, we got this red candle on this one, right? We got the red bar sell-off candle. Now we want to see more of that for an entry point, right? We want a little bit more confirmation on this next candle to show that sell-off is continuing. Then I would buy into puts on the rejection. Now, if it comes in green and we start to see more green come into the mix, I'm not going to buy puts yet because we didn't get a follow through on that next candle, right? So I'd still be looking for potentially a trade to the upside if we break through it. So what it's saying here on the VWAP trading breakout is we're looking for a breakout candle above VWAP. I'll look at a 2-3 minute candle closed, and the next candle is where I look to take an entry on the follow through if there's a follow through. If there's not, I just won't trade it. And then the targets, we can use the range extension or fib levels, right? And that's exactly what I did here. I put this fib retracement from just high of day to the low of day to give myself some levels to aim for if we decide to take a trade. So now we got to follow through this candle here. I'd be more inclined to take a potential downside trade down to these levels as a target point. This candle, we got about a minute 15 for this candle to close. So if it decides to close and we see continuation on the sell-off, then I'd look to take a trade here. And then my stop loss, if we decide to get above VWAP and close above VWAP, that potentially is my stop loss for the put side, right? Because that turns into a more of a bullish sediment with that VWAP strategy if we get above it. Yes, yeah, I will share these documents in my coaching. I can go over it more as well. But yeah, the coaching, I will share these documents with you guys and put it in the Discord for you guys to have. If you guys want to review this, like in the morning, before you trade, always good to refresh your mind on this strategy, how to use it before jumping into a trade based on that. So that's how we're going to trade the breakout. Now the rejection is what we just talked about. Price rallies into VWAP from below that we just talked about here. We're down here, we rallied into VWAP. Now we're looking for a failed breakthrough of VWAP, which currently we got so far, right? We got hit our head on VWAP. This candle here, we tested VWAP on that wick and we still got rejection. So we're still stacked bearish until we break through VWAP. So we're still looking downside move right now. It's looking pretty good. And then the trade will be enter short and rejection candle. Stop would just be above VWAP, and our targets will be prior lows or support zones that you've drawn out on the chart. Right. So we're looking at these levels down here. You can literally do this fib level and aim for these targets on the fib retracement level. Or you can go to previous day price action, put the lines in place at the support where most price actions touched and bounced off of. That's a support level, right? Because it's bouncing off that level several times. It's holding with volumes coming back in. And then you put lines across those areas for downside targets, because they could bounce from those levels. So you want to make sure your eyes are peeled on those support levels from previous days. And then same thing with upside resistance levels would be your targets for the upside momentum. Is that a clean way of explaining this to you guys? Do you kind of understand how simple it is to trade off VWAP? And all we're looking at is this volume. We're looking at VWAP, and we're just looking at these simple entries: break through and reject off this, and that gives us a bias, bullish or bearish bias, and we can take trades. And the actual plan can be very tight, especially with the stop loss. You can probably, if it decides to break to the upside, if you're trying to play downside move and it breaks above VWAP, your stop would be very, very close, and you'd probably be risking nothing more than 5%. If you're in options, maybe nothing more than 10%, maybe not, maybe lower. And then upside the same way. So just a clean strategy that can be effective on day trades, especially day trading. And right now, like we say, SPY's stacked more bearish. We got these wicks to the upside. So buys were trying to push it up here, but now you can see the sellers came back in, and we got the wick created to the top, and with the bodies coming down. We've got more selling action still in SPY at this point. But I also want to just keep on like NVIDIA for the day, at least NVIDIA's chart, because SPY is going to be heavily moved based on what NVIDIA is doing today. And NVIDIA had that bounce the same way, but it's falling a little bit lower now. So we're going to see a follow through on the downside as NVIDIA continues to fall again here. This could be a nice clean trade, right, on this rejection. $270,000 worth. No, man, Nick, you don't need to send me anything, bro. I've been through a lot of pain in the beginning stages of trading. I really have, and I had nowhere to go, nowhere to learn, no one to learn from. All it was a bunch of people on stock twits trying to pump and dump stuff back, 10 years ago. And took me a lot of time to turn that around. But perseverance and focus and not giving up got me to where I am today. And just making it really simple on myself. Not listening to so many people, just focusing on my setup that works, that I know that's worked more. Even if it's worked 70% of the time, it's still an effective strategy, because if you keep your stops tight and you stop out 2-3%, and you work a strategy to keep you in a winning trade as long as possible, you're going to be green. Even with a 60-70% win rate, you're going to be nice and green at the end of the month if you keep your discipline and you know where to, take your profits, know where to stop out, know where to find, to look for that continuation, so you're not cutting your profits off. Those small losses won't mean anything to you when you got those profits to the upside. So you don't need to send me anything. I've learned a lot over the time, and it cost me a lot. But COVID, I started at 3-4 grand when COVID came around, and I turned it into 280K. I'm literally telling you the truth. I got screenshots from where I started to where I ended. And then I obviously stopped trading these kind of COVID stocks, and I got into more long-term stuff and set myself up better, bought a house and so on with that. So I definitely came a long way from like 2015, 2016, where I had no patience. I was scalping the AMD $5-6 up to $8-9. I weren't looking at the bigger picture, and now I'm more of a trader that looks at long-term fundamentals, look at growth in the company, and I'm like, If this company's down here and it's growing, momentum's in its favor, everything's looking good from fundamentally, I'm going to be more inclined to hold that long term. And I make hundreds and hundreds of percent on it instead of just scalping it for 10, 15, 20% and working my ass off for that. So I've changed a little bit as a trader going along, and I found the niche that works for me in trading. I just focus on that. So that's VWAP right now, and it can be used very powerful. You can use it on the 5-minute, chart. You can use it on the 5-minute if you would prefer. On day trade, like option day trading, probably use it like the 5-minute would probably be better for you. Equity day trading, 2-3 minutes is what I base the watch list trades off of. So that's what I would focus on. Now, if you wanted to add the SMA 20, that would just give you an extra confirmation for downside or upside bias as well. But when you add too many indicators into your chart, it can give you mixed signals. You get confused, overwhelmed, and you just don't know what to do. And just training off of one indicator could be very effective for you, right? So I'm going to share this VWAP trading. We go more into it in the premium side of the Discord, of the coaching side of the Discord. Overall, even if you join coaching, overall, we want to keep you as a community member just because you love it there. But technically, we just want to get you on a trading plan strategy that you don't really need us, but you're staying around because you love us and you love the community and what it offers. So overall, we want to set you up on your way long term, and not have to rely on someone like us in the end. But if you want to stick around because you love us, that's great too. So VWAP again, we got that retest of VWAP and rejection at VWAP right here. Look at that wick. So there's a lot of back and forth action here. Oh yeah. I can tell you stories when I bought Meta. I can tell you stories when I bought Snowflake. I can tell you stories, so many fun stories of when I bought these stocks long term and they've been so successful. Palantir, 1,500% up on Palantir. We got Meta when it was 95 and Jim Cramer was crying on TV. We got all these pickups and stories behind when we bought it. Pretty fun, pretty hilarious, to be honest with you. All right, let me look to see if there's any tickers here. Ritual trade. Can you look at CAT ticker for swing? It's up. It is up on the SMA 20. So I'm just going to stick to this VWAP. If it continues under VWAP, bearish stacked. If it starts to push above VWAP, just based on this simple strategy, we look to take this higher to these levels up here on the chart, based on this fib retracement. You want to know more? Jump into the coaching, guys, and you have more one-on-one action with me. Or if you decide to take passive option coaching, that's with Swing and Ball. You get that more one-on-one interaction and help that you need. And he does passive income. If you want to stick to options, you can grab and jump into his coaching program as well. We have options and equity in the Discord. So let me look at CAT. Before I've got about 5 minutes, so I'm gonna just have a look what this show is showing me. And what does anyone see, looking at this chart, what kind of pattern there is right now in this chart? Just looking at this area here, what does anyone see a pattern? Let me check the chat. Double top could be one. Cup and handle, that is one I'm seeing. Is a cup and handle right here. So we can put this probably on the 4-hour and see it a little bit better. Yeah. So on the swing trading, I do not swing with a VWAP, right? That's just intraday day trading. That's what I stick to with VWAP, but I'm not going to have it on my swing trades. That's an indicator I don't need on there. But you can see if we draw a cup here and we draw, I can use the regression trend. Let's see if it keeps it clean. Yeah, right there. So you can see this is the cup. Cup. You can make this bigger. Not be scared. Cup right here. And this up here is the handle. Right? So we got a cup and handle breakout right here. So with the entry would be either you would take the entry if we break out the top, or you just look for, like TNT says, you just look for that to break through that double top here, and then you take it higher based on like a trend fib extension. Because if this is at all-time highs, what do you go off of for targets? You don't, right? You don't know what to go off of for targets because it's at all-time high. So that's when another tool that you can use comes into play. You can use a extension, a fib extension, and that's just an easy tool. You can find out how to use. It's pretty simple, but all you do is bring up on TradingView here trend-based extension, and you go from the bottom, like the recent bottom here, and you go to the top that we saw, then the pullback. And there you can at least get some points of targets, like some rough estimates where you should aim for if we break to all-time highs. Where's the next level that I should look at? And this will help you a lot. It helped me a lot find out targets to aim for once we broke all-time highs on Palantir so many times. So something like this can be very effective for you. So we break through all-time highs, maybe is an entry point. You can do that. So above maybe 441, 441, 14, 15. And then you look at these target points to go higher, 443, 447, 453, 460. And this can just be a simple tool to give you rough spots where to aim for to go higher, right? But this is a cup and handle, and what you can look for either a breakthrough of the trend, a trend line break, or, so this is the trend line, right? I can get rid of this. So you can easily just, get a trend line break, take it here, or you can just wait for us to break through, this area, or all-time highs at this area here, for you to be more confident that we're going to go higher. Once we break through and hold these previous highs, then I'd be more confident that we're going to keep going. So meaning we go up here, we retest, and we keep going from there. And as long as we hold this as support, once we get through it, then this is going to go likely higher, right? Not a guarantee. I can't guarantee anything, but most charts that I've seen this happen have gone higher once we've held previous all-time highs as support. We're going to go higher from there. And that's when the fib retracement comes in for you to aim for more targets, right? So I hope that helps. But yeah, pretty much a cup and handle. Also, you can see a double top like TNT says, and that also will bring a different type of traders looking for that all-time high break and hold to jump in to take this higher, right? So there may be people just sitting on the sidelines watching this chart, waiting for that. All right, guys, it's 10:30. I got to jump on out of here. In 30 minutes, I got the coaching. If someone can stick the link in the chat, I appreciate it. I do have coaching in 30 minutes. So any of you guys on the fence want to jump in, sign up. In 30 minutes, we got the live stream. And it's recorded as well. If you can't sit and listen, you can also get the recordings in the Discord as well. So it's been fun. I hope you guys learned something from the stream, as well as making a little bit extra money for the day. And I will see you the same time next week on Thursday. All right. So bye for now, guys.